is back at council table. Go ahead, Mr. Mason.
Your Honor, as I understand the circumstances of the record at this point in time, as I said, I wasn't in on the vetting that you did, so I don't know exactly what you don't recall, but you've got some information. It seems to be that there's a dispute through the phone as to whether or not money that has previously been paid, despite the fact that there's none now, should justify leaving this defendant without cost opportunity. So, to satisfy all that, I'm going to put on some testimony with your permission.
Yes, sir.
And I'll call Andrea Lyon to witness stand.
Okay.
Is the JDC lawyer still on?
I hope so. All right. Let's swear these lines. You're an officer of the court, but just for formality's sake,
Sure.
I'll swear you.
solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thanks.
Go ahead, sir.
You want
She's fine.
are you comfortable standing there? State your name, please, ma'am, and spell both of them for the record.
My name's Andrea Lyon, A-N-D-R-E-A, Lyon, L-Y-O-N.
Ms. Lyons, may we correctly assume indeed that you are attorney at law in good standing, licensed to practice law?
Yes, I am.
And you have been, this you can't hide now because you're not as old as me. How long have you been a lawyer?
I've been a lawyer 33 years, I think.
All right.
Perhaps 34.
And,
A while.
And within the area of law, are you recognized nationwide for having a certain expertise?
I am.
What
yes,
is that expertise?
in capital defense, sir.
Do you have any idea how many capital offense cases you have defended?
Well, I know that I've tried 136 murder trials and 30 or 40 which were potentially capital. I've taken 19 through penalty phase.
All right. You are a member of the defense team for Casey Anthony, sitting behind me in the middle of the defense table.
I am.
And how long have you been counsel on that team?
Since shortly after the state changed their position and asked for the death penalty, that would have been the end of May of last year, I believe. I'm not sure the exact date, Your Honor.
Ms. Lyons, are you being paid any attorney's fees for your services in this case?
No.
Have you, in fact, in behalf of this case, attempted to raise money from various charities to help defer expenses?
I have.
And is there any money left from those efforts that you have raised from corporations and otherwise to help fund this case?
No, my clinic is actually in the hole.
You received some amount of money in connection with this case from the defense team, technically from Casey.
That's correct.
How much was that?
$22,500, all of which went to costs.
And what costs did you expend, categories of costs did you use to spend that $22,000?
Investigation, travel, development of mitigation, getting records, transcripts, equipment, like computers, sorts of equipment, a lot of things.
Is there any of that money left available to be used to defer any expenses for Casey Anthony's defense?
No, sir, there's not a dime.
Do you have any idea, or can you estimate on this short notice, ma'am, approximately how many hours of legal time you have expended in the defense of Casey Anthony?
I personally would estimate that I have spent probably 1,000 hours, maybe more.
In addition to being a lawyer, you are a professor at DePaul University College of Law, are you not?
I am.
And do you have a clinic of students that also assist you there?
I do.
How many of those are there?
Right now, there are 14 students who are working with me.
Are they volunteering their time to assist you in this case?
But they are. Of course, it is a class, so they do get a grade if they do good work.
They get
Yes.
They get credits in their school.
That's correct.
Or they pay any money.
Oh, no, sir. There's no money.
Now, I heard, if I did hear correctly through the speakerphone, that somebody in the media has talked about something they, of course, don't know anything about. Is there any book deal anywhere?
No, sir.
Is there any movie deal anywhere?
No, sir.
Is there any deal with any kind of commercialization whatsoever in connection with this case?
None.
That's all the questions I have on this line, Your Honor.
Sir, do you have any? You're still with us, I hope.
No.
What? That's fine. Let me see if the state has any questions. If you want to submit a supplemental argument. I guess there's no harm in that. Anybody from the state have any questions? All right.
Just a couple. Ms. Lyon, you said you actually raise money from different charities and businesses?
Well, I run a clinic that is a charitable organization, and we represent people that are poor. And so I do fundraising to help support the clinic.
Did you do fundraising specifically for this case?
No, for the clinic, but it got expended on this case.
How much?
Out the door costs right now, I would estimate somewhere in the, I don't have the exact figures, I would estimate approximately $70,000 or so in costs so far. And from which you could subtract the $22,500. That's my best estimate right now, sir. I don't have the.
What was all that money for? What did it go to?
All the things I've said already.
Investigation, transcripts, equipment. Do you have that itemized anywhere? Of the money that
I do accounting for the law school. Yes.
Is that available?
Maybe.
Well, hang on, it's not available to the prosecution. It might be available for the judge for the in-camera look if he needed to. But
okay, well, that's really what I'm asking about. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions from you, Mr. Mason?
no, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lyon.
Well, may I be seated?
Yeah, absolutely.
Call Jose Baez, Your Honor.
Come on up, sir. Or you can wherever you're comfortable. Raise your right hand.
Oh, raise your hand before Mr. Baez.
Solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You won't turn around and look as far as you go.
Very well.
Now, you state your name for the record, please, sir, and spell your name for it.
Jose Baez, B-A-E-Z.
Mr. Baez, are you an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Florida?
Yes, sir.
You're licensed in good standing?
Yes, sir.
Are you lead counsel for the defense of the defendant, in this case, Casey Marie Anthony?
For all intents and purposes, yes.
And you represent her not only in this case, but you represented her in a collateral case dealing with bad checks or some such thing as that, right?
Yes.
Right. Mr. Baez, let me ask you, do you have knowledge of there being any deal, any negotiations, any discussion whatsoever of any kind of a movie deal for this case?
Absolutely not.
Book deal?
Absolutely not.
Any commercialization whatsoever?
Absolutely not.
Mr. Baez, the affidavit reflects that along the way here you received some money.
Yes, sir.
I believe you've already told Judge Strickland in camera the source of money that was initially used in this case.
Correct.
And is there any money left, sir?
Zero.
Zero. The affidavit reflects that along the way in this case you received approximately $89,000 for all the litigation. Is that correct?
Correct.
You have an estimate, sir, of how many hours you have expended in the defense of Casey Anthony in all of her cases?
While I've never tracked it, I would estimate somewhere in the 2,500 range over the last year and a half.
Is anybody holding any money for you or for the defense in any capacity whatsoever?
None.
In fact, sir, you asked me to come and help in this case, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And I agreed to do so without any fee whatsoever, correct?
Yes, sir, you did.
Are any of the lawyers being paid any attorney's fees whatsoever in this case?
The only lawyers who have been paid anything were submitted in the affidavits, which is why I submitted the $89,000 and change for myself, and the money that was paid out to Ms. Andrea Lyon, and no one else has been paid anything.
Sitting at the council table behind me is a lady by the name of Linda Maiden Kenny, right?
Ms. Kenny Bott.
Kenny Biden, the guy that back whatever. I'm old. I told you have to watch that. Has she been paid any attorney's fees in this case?
No, she's been gracious and kind enough to do it pro bono.
She's come down from New York, as a matter of fact, to help with the defense of Casey Anthony, has she not?
Yes, she has. And she's done a lot more than that.
So, sir, do you have any idea, since Mr. Wesley has told us that the public defender's office is broke and can't help, and you don't have any money there, do you know of any way that we're going to be able to afford due process rights to Casey Anthony without her being declared indigent for purposes of cost?
I see absolutely no way that Ms. Anthony can get any type of representation unless she's declared.
Do you have any idea? Can you tell the judge, without saying who or revealing our strategy, do you have any number in your mind of how many experts are going to be necessary to testify in this case to counter the experts of the prosecution?
I think based on the sheer number of, I think the witness list is well over 130 at this point. A good portion of them are designated as expert witnesses. There are lab personnel from the FBI. The state agencies that are involved also include Orange County Sheriff's Department specifically, as well as the MBI division. I know the Secret Service at one point was consulted.
How about the Florida Department of Law Enforcement? Are they involved also?
They are as well. And
How about Oak Ridge Laboratory in Tennessee?
Oak Ridge Laboratory has also been consulted. And the Fish and Wildlife, I think, is also, I guess, conducted an autopsy.
Do you have any idea the geographical distribution of all the witnesses that the state says they're bringing to bear in this case?
Well, they are completely spread out throughout the country. In addition to that, there are EquiSearch volunteers that came from throughout the country in this case, and they are scattered throughout the country.
Do you have any reason to believe that Casey Anthony, having been in jail for the last 20 consecutive months, has any money anywhere?
Absolutely not. I don't anticipate any. I'm certainly not aware of any money, and I think it would be quite a stretch to imagine that she would.
And the court doesn't question her indigency now. There's just a roadmap that we have to go through on
Well, I
this. You
understand.
can't take any detours.
I think
So
we just
I'm-
went through the AAA route. We've got it all. I have no further questions.
Okay, I'm sorry. Any other questions of Mr. Baez?
No, sir.
I do have one thing. I should.
Hold on. Did you have any questions?
Just a few, Judge.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Baez, you said there's no movie deals,
No, sir.
no book deals,
No, sir.
no deals for future exclusive interviews with either yourself or your client,
None whatsoever.
no deals for photographs later on at the end of the trial. Do you have any pending offers for these things?
No.
I didn't hear that. I'm Frank. I'm sorry. What was the last question?
Any pending offers for these items? He said no.
No preliminary discussions about those items in the future with any media outlet or with anybody.
Early on through this case, I retained Professor Tim Generis, the former ethics
I'm
director.
sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
Sorry. Early on in the process, I retained Professor Timothy Generis, who's the former ethics director of the Florida Bar. Anything that came, any calls that came through my office regarding anything like that was cleared through him, and I was clearly advised and told that nothing could be pending, nothing could be done in the meantime, and we completely followed every recommendation of Professor Generis.
So that means, yes, you have had some preliminary discussions.
No.
Somewhat.
People have made
Your question was first whether he's had any about currently, and then whether he had had any in the past, I think. So this goes to the past, beginning of the case.
People made offers, and they were politely denied.
What kind of offers have you received?
I was approached in reference to a book deal. That was denied.
Was money discussed?
No, it never got to that stage. It was unethical for me to sign any kind of book deal. And
I'm not asking if you signed one, I'm just asking if you had discussion.
I would like to finish my answer if I may, sir. I was, that was referred to Professor Generis. I was clearly advised that it was not an ethical thing to do, and we politely declined, so no money was ever discussed.
In your affidavit, you listed approximately $89,000 that you received for attorney's fees,
Yes, sir.
and Ms. Lyon has received a little over $22,000.
Yes, sir.
I referenced earlier an in-camera hearing that we had about a year ago with the judge. Do you recall
Yes.
that meeting?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall that at that meeting you had given the judge an amount of money that you had received
Yes, sir.
thus far? How much money did you receive? Did you tell the judge you received?
I think that's in camera and sealed by the court. And
You're testifying now, sir.
I think
for us to.
court sees no problem in answering the question. If you want to speak to the court at the bench, I'll listen to what you have to say. But I think the amount there, and frankly the source, is relevant here.
Thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, sir.
The The amount spoken at the in-camera hearing was $205,000. $5,000 came from a donor, somebody who wanted to contribute to Ms. Anthony's defense. $200,000 came from a deal that was done by my client with the American Broadcasting
From where, I'm sorry?
ABC.
From ABC News?
Yes.
And that money's been paid?
Yes.
And there's no other deal for any future monies coming from ABC News?
No. And I've heard the recent rumors, and that could be, and the recent news reports, and those are 100% completely false.
All right, so if you had a year
Well,
ago...
since we've referenced the rumors
Apparently
about
there's some
more
rumor-
money to come,
Apparently, there's some rumor that was being spread that apparently I'm supposed to get $700,000 at trial, after trial.
thank you. Not true.
Not,
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So we started, a year ago, we had $205,000
Correct.
paid, and you paid yourself $89,000 and change, and Ms. Lyon's been paid $22 and change. There's still a lot of money left over.
Well, here's something else, because I think this is a little bit misleading. We additionally was given another $70,000 by a member of the defense team that wanted to assist with costs.
Who was that?
Mr. McAlooza.
So Mr. Macaluso contributed $70,000.
Correct.
And when was that?
Right about the time Professor Lyon joined the team. Unfortunately, I don't know the date. 10 months ago.
So just from those three sources, the anonymous donor of $5,000, ABC News, and Mr. Macaluso, we had $275,000 a little less than a year ago.
Yes.
And
A year and a half ago. If you total it all up, it started, this case began June. I was retained June 17th.
so other than approximately $110,000, $115,000 for you and Ms. Lyon, where's the rest of the money?
It's gone to costs, expenses, travel, depositions, experts, the retention of experts. It's been quite a expensive task trying to keep toe-to-toe with the prosecution in this case.
That includes the $89,000 that went to you. You're saying that came to you, but it was not as a fee. You utilized it for costs.
That was my fee I collected.
All right, so that was, you just used that to pay yourself, your office overhead, whatever.
Correct.
All right.
Because of the time that I was dedicating to this case, it took away from my ability to take other cases.
Thank you, sir.
Now we see Mr. Mason, and Ms. Bodden, and Ms. Lyon. Are there any other attorneys that are private attorneys that are actively representing Ms. Anthony?
There are other attorneys that have been consulted. None have filed notice of appearances, and none have been paid.
Are any scheduled to be paid?
None.
Any promise of future payment on any of these people?
No.
You mentioned some experts. Have you retained experts
Yes, we have.
that you paid?
Some have been paid.
Who have been paid?
No, I'm going to object to disclosing the experts and the nature of their doing. That invades the privilege and preparation of our strategies.
I'm going to sustain the objection. I have no problem if you cover the amounts that have been paid to them, but their names, I don't think they need to be.
All right. How many experts have actually been retained as of today?
I don't have I did not bring the accounting with me. I did not anticipate.
You can supply that?
I can supply the accounting to the judge.
Even if, forgive me, even if you list them as expert 1, 2, and 3, you can give an incremental slot for how much they've been paid, maybe how much time they put into the case. I'm not concerned about time.
You know, the way we have it, Judge, is the name of the person, the amount that was sent to them, and the check, and there's receipts and things like that.
You can provide that. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. George. Go ahead.
Well, not being able to give us their names, can you tell us how much these experts have actually been paid thus far?
Total.
I would be guessing.
Again, you can supply that?
Yes, I can. I wouldn't want to mislead the court.
You've hired, I also said you've hired investigators.
Yes, sir.
You have investigators. I know that Ms. Lyon has some investigators.
Yes.
Are they being paid?
The investigators that are being paid have come through the clinic. The other has also been paid through the clinic, through Ms. Lyon's clinic.
All right, so your firm, you have not taken any money from Ms. Anthony?
I have paid investigators. The amount is, I have an idea, but it would be very little.
And that's something that you can provide as well?
That's something I can provide.
Now, Ms. Botten, as I understand it, has her own contract with Ms. Anthony, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Are you aware of that contract?
Yes, I am.
Are you aware that she's being paid?
She's being paid nothing. She has been paid nothing.
And is your knowledge that she has a promise of future payment?
You know, I haven't read that document in a while, and I can't testify to it, at least not with any degree of certainty.
When we had the encounter hearing last March, as I understood it, Ms. Botten was going to present a copy of that retainer agreement. Do you have a copy of that retainer agreement?
I have it at my office, yes. I don't have it with me in court today.
Do you know why it hasn't been filed?
I believe it's been provided to the court.
It hasn't been provided to the court judge. Sorry, I didn't want to put you on the spot.
It may or may not be here. I have no idea.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
I have a follow-up question. I'm sorry.
I guess just to be clear, how much money is left in the trust fund?
Zero.
Zero.
It's okay. You answer.
I can ask one.
Mr. Baez,
Hold on.
are you done, Frank?
How did Ms. Lyon get here today?
I'm sorry?
How did Ms. Lyon get here today? I forgot to ask her.
I think she got here by an airplane.
Okay, who paid for that?
She did.
That's coming out of pocket, or is that coming from the Casey fund?
You have to ask her
There's
that.
no more money left, Frank. I thought I was clear. There's not a dime.
You paid.
Correct.
Mike?
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh.
I've got a question. You told
Let's get through this, and then
who what?
somebody behind you spoke up.
Oh.
I waved him off. Go ahead.
Mr. Baez, you said you're trying to keep toe-to-toe with the state. Got any idea how much the state of Florida has spent on this case to prosecute Miss Anthony?
I would estimate it somewhere in the middle.
It's not relevant.
Well, Your Honor, respectfully, due process is due process. If they can spend millions, then we ought to be able to spend
It's
part of
it's
it.
not in the statute. It matters. I get it. It's
Got
not
it.
relevant here. Hold
Thank
on.
you.
Wait a minute. One other question, and then we'll see what counsel has to say. Let's wrap this up. But forgive me. The money contributed by is Mr. Macaluso. I take it he's no longer with us.
No, he's not.
All right, I haven't gotten the motion to withdraw that I know of, but he would be so kind so we can take him off the party list here. And then in addition to that, you said he contributed, I think it was $70,000.
Yes.
Was the contribution contingent upon him being allowed to join the team?
No. He was already a team member long before he decided to be so gracious.
All right, your point is there's no funds, there are no funds available and no way to get any, and you're relying on the court to declare your client indigent.
That's correct.
That's
All right.
bottom line.